it's hot.
It sure is.
Heat is a big deal for diabetes.
It is?
In this video, we talk about how the heat affects blood sugar and the importance of hydration. We will also talk about how to keep our meds safe. We'll give you some ideas about what to eat while it's hot. We also talk about exercising while it's hot. And finally, we chat about why we should care about the athlete's food and what to do about it. Finally, if you take insulin, there's important info for you at the end of the video.
Okay. That's a lot of ground to cover. Well, let's get inside first. Thank goodness for air conditioning.
Yes. Diabetes sucks.
But at Simply Diabetes, we can help you manage your diabetes cheaper and easier.
We are not medical professionals. We are people with diabetes, just like you.
Welcome. If you find this information useful, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. This is much better. At least we're not melting. Here in Las Vegas, it can get hot.
It can get dangerously hot everywhere these days. And we have to be careful. Heat can do a number on us in several different ways.
I know. Dehydration is one of these ways, but that's true of anybody. If you sweat a lot and you don't replace the water, you can get in serious trouble. People with diabetes are at higher risk of dehydration.
Yes. We did a video about that. I'll add the link to the description. But there's more to it for us people with diabetes than just dehydration. The high temperatures can mess with your blood sugar.
Up or down?
Both. We already mentioned dehydration. When we measure blood sugar, we actually measure the amount of sugar in the blood volume. So if we are nicely hydrated, the sugar reaches a good concentration. But when we get dehydrated, there's less volume of blood for the same amount of sugar. The result is a higher sugar reading, sometimes much higher.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when we sweat a lot, our blood sugar goes up. I thought sweating is good. It helps us keep cool.
Yes, but it also causes a higher concentration of sugar in our blood unless we drink enough water to replace whatever we sweat out. That's why we never leave the house without water. We sip often throughout the day, so we never get dehydrated.
And of course, when we hydrate, it's always something with no sugar.
Yes, absolutely. Don't drink your sugar is the best advice we can give you. But, and this might sound strange at first, we might need to add a bit of salt if we sweat profusely.
Why?
To replace the electrolytes we lose by sweating.
But sometimes a cold beer is what I think of when I'm hot.
But it won't help with hydration. Alcohol is, in fact, dehydrating you, and beer raises blood sugar, so a double whammy. We can have alcohol, but we need to be careful. We have a video about this. The link is in the description of this video.
How do we know when we're dehydrated?
If you have a headache or if your pee is darker, you could be more tired than normal. And of course, never ignore it if you feel thirsty. But even if you don't and have these other symptoms, drink some water. You're preventing not only a sugar high, but also a heat stroke. We have a lot more about water in our video about hydration. The link is in the description.
Okay, I understand that our blood sugar can get higher when it's hot. But you said it can also get lower. Why would that be?
This is more for people who take insulin. We'll talk about that at the end, since most of our viewers don't use insulin. And in summer, a lot of people are less hungry, and so we eat less because it's hot. If you use the same amount of meds as in winter, but you eat less, your blood sugar can easily get too low.
So, our next tip is to measure your blood sugar more often when it's hot.
Absolutely. This way, we can catch it if it gets out of whack and can react quickly. This is where CGMs are really lifesavers. But if you don't have one, check your sugar using a regular meter. I know pricking your finger isn't fun, but better to be safe, particularly if you feel a bit iffy.
I remember from our video about insulin that it can get affected by heat.
Yes, not just insulin, but other meds, particularly the injectables. If they get too hot, they can lose potency. Then it's like injecting water, it doesn't do anything. But heat can mess up with pills too.
The med labels often say to store in a specific temperature.
Yes, that's the reason. It's important to follow the manufacturer's instruction about this. But I look at the box my insulin comes in, and I don't have the temperature there. So I asked my pharmacist, and she recommended room temperature for opened insulin vials. I keep the unopened vials in the fridge, also Ozempic, as pharmacies do before they fill your prescription.
So the meds need to be kept at a safe temperature.
Yes.
But it's hot. And if you take the meds with you and then leave them in a hot car, that's no good.
That's in fact terrible. Here in Las Vegas, we make sure the pharmacy is our last stop when we run around the town. Then we go directly home, and this way our meds are safe. But if that's not possible, use a cooler or an insulated bag. Also for pills.
And if you travel, use your insulated bag.
Yep.
What about supplies?
That depends. If you bought a box of needles, they aren't temperature sensitive unless it gets really hot. The test strips are best kept at room temperature and need to be dry. The best thing to do is keep them in their original container.
And the CGM sensors?
If you're wearing them, they are automatically at the good temperature. If you're bringing them home from a pharmacy, keep them away from heat. Oh, one more thing about meds, supplies, and the temperature. If you have anything delivered to your home, the delivery person could just drop the box off at your door. Bring it in as soon as possible to avoid any problems.
So, now we know about the meds, let's talk about what to eat when it's hot.
Okay, we focus on foods that are cool or no cook, low in carbs, hydrating, budget conscious, and portable. If you're on the go, we have a series of videos about quick and inexpensive foods, and there are lots of ideas there. We often eat a homemade yogurt bowl with fruit for breakfast. Surprisingly, it's also hydrating because fruit contains a lot of water and so does yogurt. An easy portable lunch is peppers cut in half and filled with tuna salad. And for dinner, we like egg salad. You need to cook the eggs, but that's a lot less time consuming than many other dishes. So we don't need to slave over the hot stove.
And nuts make great snacks, but they're bone dry.
You can add some fruit. As you've just seen, we eat light in summer. This can lead to sugar lows if we are not careful. So if we find our sugar trends lower, it might be time to adjust medication. Talk to your doctor about that.
Let's talk about exercising. It's way too hot to play pickleball outside in summer, so we play indoors. The added benefit is that there is no pesky wind to carry the ball and mess up your serve returns.
Yes, exercising indoors when it's hot, it's much safer. If you do want to go out, do it early or late. And if your personal trainer is your dog, make sure the pup is comfortable too.
And we can also do stealth exercises.
Yeah, or fidget. We have videos about these two ideas. I added the link to the description.
How about exercising in water?
Love it. It's often easier on your body. Plus, we don't sweat, or at least we don't feel like we do. I find it much nicer. But if you are using a public pool, you need to be careful about athlete's foot.
Yuck! Athlete's foot is caused by a fungus and by not drying between your toes. I used to get it periodically in Seattle, probably because in the rush to get home after showering, I didn't dry my feet properly. Since we moved to Las Vegas, where it's really dry, no issues in over 8 years.
Exactly. It's an infection, and we people with diabetes are more prone to catching it. So it's best to use slippers and not to go barefoot anywhere.
And if you do catch it?
Usually, over-the-counter medication can help. A pharmacist can direct you to the right one.
Is now a good time to get back to insulin? We said at the beginning that there are special considerations for people on insulin when it's hot.
Yes, when you're hot, your body tries to get cooler by increasing the blood flow to your skin. This blood flow can cause the insulin to kick in quicker. And sometimes it will be really quick, much faster than you expect, particularly for rapid action insulin, although this can also happen with long-acting insulin too. And even more so if you inject in your abdomen or thigh. If that happens, your blood sugar can drop a lot more than you expect.
I see you inject in your arms more in summer. I thought that's because you wear sleeveless tops and arms are much easier to reach.
That too. So I have two reasons, not just one. The abdomen absorbs faster, so I hardly ever shoot my insulin there in summer. Oh, and even in summer, it's still important to vary the injection sites. I alternate arms and sometimes inject in my upper thighs in summer.
Gotcha.
We covered a lot of info in this video. If you have your favorite tips about surviving a heat wave while keeping your blood sugar in range, tell us in the comments.
And if you found this video useful, give us a like, subscribe to our Simply Diabetes channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified when we release our next video.
And don't forget to tell your friends. You want them healthy too.
See you next time.
Until then, keep your blood sugar in the healthy range.